Carl here from Metal Wani, and today, on Wednesday 14th, I am once again privileged in the company of one of my personal favourite artists and performers, the Duke of Spook himself, Mr. Wednesday 13. Wednesday, once again, thank you for taking the time to hang out with me, my friend.
Thank you for having me. Let me play my trumpet sound. Introducing the Duke of Spook. That's how I want to come out, like on Pee-wee's Playhouse when they'd say introducing the king of cartoons.
That's what I was about to say, man. Next time we'll have a trumpet, I promise.
Yeah, that's what I need. Someone comes in, plays a trumpet, I come out. That's how it should be.
Consider it done, man. Next time this is
all
happening.
Right.
And I said to you last time that the next time we spoke it would be on Wednesday 13th. I'm getting closer. I am getting closer.
Well, we are closer. It's Wednesday the 14th, so that's just, I might be even cooler just because of the weirdness. There was an old movie called Saturday the 14th.
Right.
So, yeah, so this is like that.
Right, man. Cool. So, well, once you're happy, I'm happy. Anyway, I'll quit fussing. We're here to talk life, horror, and of course, your music. Your new record, Necrophaze, will be available to all September 27th. And the last time we had spoke, I had yet to hear it, and you delayed the release a bit to refine some areas. And let me just kick things off by saying it paid off, dude. The record is so good. Congratulations to you and the guys.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very happy with it.
As you should be, brother. And listen, the last time we spoke, you generously informed me that you had Roy Mayorga of Stone Sour working on the synth for the record, and boy, did he. Like, there's elements of, for me, Gary Newman, John Carpenter, and for me, essentially what Roy did after you enlisted him was take a heavy horror record and score it somewhere between an 80s and contemporary horror movie. Would this be a fair assessment?
I think so. I think that's exactly what we did. It was really cool because, like, the way Roy approached the music was he was not involved when we, like, recorded the parts and laid everything down. So he kind of heard the music after, you know, we had laid the basic tracks down and, like, all right, here's the blood and guts to the song. What could you add to this without doing what we're doing, if that makes sense? Right. What could you do else to this that we haven't already done? Like, could you score our... That was kind of like the funny thing we kept saying. Could you score our music? So that kind of became a little joke thing, and it kind of worked, because when you take a song like Zodiac and you take all of the keyboard and synth sound that's out of it and hear the song, it's great. But that extra element that Roy added is something I couldn't even hear. I don't know how he did that. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a cool thing, and it's such a, you know, and he's got all the equipment. Like, he has the original keyboard, the same type of keyboard that John Carpenter used on his first 5 films. It's called a, forgive me for the name of it. It's called like a, I can't think right now. My brain is going wrong. It's either way, this keyboard it's a synth. It's a giant thing. He said it's like $10,000 or something like that. But it's called a Prophet 10. There it is. That's the word I was looking for. Prophet 10. Prophet 10. And you can hear this thing when he can just play sounds on it, and it has like a lot of the built-in sounds that you hear on some of the early John Carpenter stuff. So it was cool to have the original equipment and to have all that stuff. And you mentioned Gary Newman as well. Roy's a huge Gary Newman fan, which was a bonus as well. We also covered a Gary Newman song that will maybe come out later on. Awesome. So he actually got to record, and we covered the song Films by Gary Newman off the Pleasure Principle, and Roy got to use all the authentic real equipment that Gary Newman used for that actual song. So was really cool touch. Is not that we got to add these sounds to the record, we got to add the authentic real sounds. It wasn't like sampled and little things like this. Like, we really, all that stuff you hear was done by Roy.
Amazing, man, amazing. And look, I don't want to give, you know, too much away about the record prematurely, but to me, you know, this record is its own entity and not a continuation. Like, it retains the same caliber of heavy components as Condolences, but you took a very evident approach to creating a real pungent sense of atmosphere on Necrophase. Would you agree with this? And if so, why did you take this particular approach as opposed to, say, like, just going heavier than Condolences again?
With every record, I think we have an idea of what, you know, and in each of us, we all have in our mind, like, oh, I think I know what this is going to sound like. But in the day, it always transforms and turns into something different. So when we went into this mindset of writing for Necrophaze as opposed to Condolences, total different mindset. Everybody's in different places. It's just a different mindset. So the approach to everything was just was a little different. And so I still think it, like you said, it contains the elements, the heavy stuff we did with Condolences, but it went on its own. It just kind of took on its own thing. But I think it definitely, in my mind, I feel like this record sort of, if I had to explain to someone, what is Wednesday 13 about? I go, listen to this record. Amazing. I think this captures what we're doing now, and I think it captures everything that we've done up to this point. There's every little element. I feel like it has a little nod to each record or each era of things that I've been a part of.
Man, that wonderfully transitions me into my next question, because I'd like to briefly touch on the record's first offering, Decompose. Because I understand the music was written by Kyle, and what you have in the end is another addition to your great graveyard sing-alongs, as you call them, which I love. So my question is, what was it about Decompose that stood out among the rest? Because there's a lot of good tracks, but what was it about this one that became your choice for the record's leading single?
To be honest with you, it wasn't my pick, and it wasn't anything that I was against or anything. It's and it was the same way with Condolences. When we gave the record to the label and turned everything in, and they were like, "Well, what's your single?" And my same reaction was with Condolences. I don't have one. I don't know. I like every song on the record. I don't record stuff I don't like. And I don't put out stuff that I don't like. So it was kind of like any of these songs could be the single. What do you guys think? So it was kind of like talked over, the U.S. side, the European side, and everybody comes back. And it's not like a dictation of anybody going, "Oh, we think this should be the singles." It's kind of like, "Hey, we think these are the 3 songs we like." And we kind of all compared notes and went, "Well, all right, well, we all agreed that this song was the one we all said stood out to us." So that's kind of how we decide singles, which I think it should be decided that way. It's just kind of like majority rules. Who said this song was the best? All right, we all like that. So that's kind of how Decompose came about. And so yeah, and plus, I don't think at first I thought that was maybe the first single, but when I heard it, I was like, well, maybe it should be. It's kind of a perfect segue into the record. I think it kind of doesn't give away what the record's about, but it's definitely got the vibe to it.
I agree, man. It's the perfect handshake. And, we can't talk about the record Necrophaze and not talk about the stellar list of guests that feature on this record. As we've said, you've Roy from Stone Sour, Alexi from Children of Bodom, Christina Scabbia of Lacuna Coil, but Alice Cooper? Please walk me through how you wound up with the godfather of shock rock himself on your record. That must be a milestone and a half, man.
Absolutely. That is that's the goal. That was the goal to get, as a 12, 13-year-old kid listening to Alice Cooper cassettes and before I even knew how to play an instrument or do anything, I'm just going, man, it'd be cool to see this guy in concert. That was kind of like the only, that was the goal, to see him in concert. And then so it's been kind of like a lifelong goal just to carry the torch of what Alice started, and I've been able to do that with my band and Murder Dolls and everything. And so when it comes time to do a record, I think with anybody or any band, everyone kind of sits around and goes, "Oh, it'd be cool if we got this guy on it, or got this guy on it." And everyone, I think, tosses around ideas. I can't tell you how many guests we've talked about and it never happened. So with this, with Alice, a lot of people don't know this either. Alice was originally going to do the intro for my Skeletons record.
Oh my God!
So that's how long this has been in the works, like as far as pursuing Alice to be a part of it. And 2008 Skeletons, if you think back, which is crazy, that's over 10 years ago now. People didn't really have recording equipment like they do now. Like anybody can just throw a laptop out and record a record now in a hotel room. But it was around that time I had Alice. He agreed to do it. And then it became a thing of, okay, well, we can't get into a studio or somebody to record it. And it became you got to hurry up with this record. And it never happened. So I didn't want to do it where it was shitty or anything. So I said, all right, we'll get him next time. And then it came around for Murder Dolls. He was going to do the intro for that. And then something happened with that. So it's kind of like I've been pursuing it, but I'm glad that it worked out and happened now, because this is the perfect time, and I think it's the perfect record for him to be on. And he's just, again, he's been my rock and roll hero. He's became a friend. He took Wednesday 13 out on tour 2005 to 2009. He took Murder Dolls out. So he's just been a friend. He's the coolest dude all around. His whole family, I became friends with him. His daughter Calico's on the record as well. And so it's really surreal when I think, I pursued that in my life to be, somewhere in the realm of Alice Cooper, and now he's on our record. It's like having Batman or Spider-Man on your record. It's that level.
Dude, I couldn't be happier for you to hear that, man, honestly. Yeah, so I just want to, last time we spoke, you and I had a really cool conversation about our love for the hard copy of a record.
Yes.
15 years as a solo artist, among other projects, dude. I mean, I know you said you heard fans say they wanted more horror, and you gave it to them, and you've given it to them now with this as well. And not with the music alone, but you put a great deal of work into the art in this record. It truly is worth a collector's time and dime to get up off their ass and go get this thing. But as I said, anyway, last time we spoke, we talked about the lost art of it, and I'm just wondering, what is it that motivates you to still carry that torch? Because the artwork in this is amazing, but it would be so much easier to make a generic one cover, one size fits all. Why do you still go so passionately towards it?
I think it's just I don't know any different. I don't know any other way to do it. I try to, when I can display my image of my band, for example, when I first started doing this, when I was a teenager, I didn't know how to have an image, so I'm like, all right, well, I'll put this horror logo on things, and that just kind of, that was just natural to me, it was always just, I wanted something to get people's attention, so that advertisement, that, Kiss, having their brand of everything, and having Kiss lunchbox, Kiss toys, Kiss. I'm like, yes. And that's, and the same way with other toys, whether it was G.I. Joe or He-Man or whatever. Yes, more. That's what I like. So I don't really know any different. So when it's a chance for me to give out my music to fans, I want it to be the way I would want it. And it's got to be in that, and it falls into the 80s where I grew up. Everything had all this great packaging. When a movie came out, it was, oh, cool. Now you got to go to Burger King and get all the glasses and the collectibles and all this stuff. And it was like a treasure hunt for your favorite movie. So I look at it now, and it really is like a treasure hunt now, because there's not record stores. And we have all these different versions of our record and different colors and different formats and different artwork, and it's just like, it literally is like this treasure hunt. You got to get, I got to get this cover, and I got to get this version because it's glow in the dark, and this is this, and it's just, for collectors, it's fun, and that's, that's what I like to do. I admired bands that put that extra something into it, something you want to hold. It's you can put music out and people can listen to it, but to actually hold it and listen to it, and it's just, there's no other way for me.
I love that, dude. And I've seen you perform, and we've talked a couple of times, but the day that you and I actually have a chance to sit down, I'm going to talk your ear off about that, so that's just a pre-warning, all right?
Yeah, no problem.
But anyway, moving on, dude. You're incredibly transparent and rightfully proud of how you've evolved both as an artist and a person. And I want to preface this with, I have no intention of asking you ridiculous clickbait questions. What interests me was when you said in an interview recently that Sobriety was a rebirth for you and revived your love of music and horror movies for you in a whole new way. Off the back of that, you said that you're hopeful that fans will hear this in the new record. That got me thinking, what impact did this revival have on your love for music, and what is it you're hoping that fans will hear specifically?
Well, that's, and for me, speaking from my point of view only, it's like, I've been doing this for a long time, and a lot of people are I think the fans of musicians and artists, they kind of don't think about that they have like lives or things going on around it. You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah.
they're like, I mean, I'm the same way. I didn't understand that movie stars and rock stars. I thought they're just like superheroes. They don't do anything but rock, and that's it. And so it's easy for a lot of people, and you can see this with with us or any band or over the years, people can kind of lose sight of what they're doing. You look at the beginning of this guy was really focused, and over the years, it's not, and it's one of those things where I think, in the beginning, I had all this, I was still so close to all my influences, all my records. I was still, living at my parents'. I was in this little small space, and I was surrounded by this stuff. So it never left me. And then when I went on tour, I wasn't around it as much. So I guess I kind of lost sight maybe of what made me start doing this in the first place. So when I got sober or stopped drinking and everything, I was like, all right, well, what made you happy before you stopped, before you started drinking, before you even knew what alcohol was? What made you happy? And I'm like, television, toys. And then it became music, and it was all of that. So I literally took my room in my apartment, like my little dojo man cave I have, and I just turned it into everything that I grew up on. I unplugged my satellite. I didn't watch the news. I couldn't stand watching people get murdered every 5 seconds in America, and I unplugged it. I only paid attention to my social media advertising the band, and I just literally cut off the world. And I went back in a time machine in the 80s, and I reconnected with all of my movies and all of my music, and it's like I love it more now than I did before. It's the weirdest thing. Like, it's like I rediscovered it, and now I'm surrounded by it. I'm friends with with a lot of people from these movies, and it's just like I just kind of had to slap myself and go, hey, dumbass, look at what you're doing. This is really cool. You've got your dream in your hand right here. Don't piss it away. So I just I fell back in love with what I do, and I think that shows on this record and the live show and just me in general.
Man, I totally agree with you, and thank you for so generously sharing that with me. I appreciate it a lot. And I'm not going to keep you too much longer, man. I've just got one question for you left. Because it interests me when I speak to artists who've been around. Like I've interviewed people who were around the 60s, 70s, 80s, in contrast to artists who are more recent or contemporary. And I love to talk about the relationship they have with touring, because artists, I find, in the last 15 to 20 years tend to have a much more precarious relationship towards touring. You, on the other hand, seem like you're in your element on stage every night, and you weren't even finished the Premium Albums tour before announcing the new record, and I know you've got another tour to follow. Is this out of necessity, or do you live for just the show, or do you enjoy touring in general? What is it, man?
I've always... not always. When I first started touring, I hated it. The first year, I wanted to go home and wanted to go back to Kmart. I just didn't think I liked it. I just loved it. I didn't know how to live out of a suitcase and be a scumbag, and I learned. And now I don't really know any different. But for me, I've always loved touring. But now, I'm kind of out of the what I call the fog now, and I'm enjoying playing more than ever and doing a show. So I really look forward to playing shows. Like, I don't really know what else to do. Like, I love entertaining people. I love that we have an audience that knows our music, and I can travel around the world and put on a show and dress up. Like, I get to dress up like a He-Man character or a villain every day and sing my songs and around the world. It's the coolest thing. So I love it. I don't know what else to do. I can always, when I'm on tour, if I've been out for 8 weeks and I'm going, man, I want to go home. I miss my girlfriend. I miss my cat. I miss my little man cave I hang out in. And then I go home for 3 days and I'm like, all right, I don't know what to do. Now I need to play again. I don't know what to do without having a hook on my hand and a mask on. So I don't. It's something that I love. I don't, for me, touring is home. It's as much home as it is, being at home. I'm really fortunate that my band and my crew is comprised of like all my best friends, and so touring isn't stressful for me. It's like I got my family there, so yeah, it's a cool thing for me. So for some people, they don't have that luxury, and they get to have to tour with horrible people, and I've had to do that in the past, and that's why I like touring now, because I have good people I'm with. I'm in good company.
Awesome, man. Wednesday, you are genuinely one of my favorite personalities to talk to, and this interview is a testament to that. The record's fantastic. I wish you and the guys nothing but the best in 2019 beyond, and I look forward to finally hanging out in person eventually.
Yeah, man, for sure. Thank
Absolutely.
you so much. Your questions were good. This is not a boring interview.
Oh, I'm delighted to hear that, man. And next time I'll have a trumpet, I promise.
That'll be great. Like the king of cartoons, the Duke of Spook.
Awesome.
It's gotta happen. That's gotta happen now.
Cool stuff, bro. Oh, it will. You mark my words, it will.
All right.
Cool, brother. Listen, have a great day, and I look forward to catching you, whether it's Dublin, London, wherever, very soon.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Here, bye-bye.